Hey friends, you're listening to the None But Curious podcast, a space for nuns, agnostics, and nothing in particulars. We are okay with not knowing, and we're inspired by each other, art, nature, and everyday moments. I'm really happy you're here. Let's go explore. When I was 15, I got my first tattoo, and it was of a red rose, and it's by my belly button. And spoiler alert, it doesn't look the same as it did when I first got it. It's morphed and changed with each child I've had. Nevertheless, the tattoo was really important to me because it represented a part of me at that time. So when I was in middle school, I was in a play called Tied to the Tracks, and I played Wild Prairie Rose. And so when I had the option to get a tattoo as opposed to a belly button piercing, because my parents were worried that the belly button piercing would get infected, so they said, go ahead and get a tattoo, we just have to approve the image. I digress. What that meant for me was getting that tattoo was owning the part of me that resonated with Wild Prairie Rose. She was the villain in the play, and she was amazing. So what happened then, from then on, is every 10 years I opted to get a tattoo. When I was 25, I got another tattoo, and that has deep symbolism. It's a dragonfly and the Japanese symbol for Kokoro. And I'm probably saying it incorrectly, but it has a very deep, significant meaning to me. And so I, for whatever reason, felt that I should get a tattoo every 10 years, and these would be markers for my own personal journey. And so right before my 35th birthday, I had this really weird dream. And in the dream, I looked at my wrist and I was scrubbing it. I was scratching it and rubbing it raw because there was a picture of the clock in the Beauty and the Beast. I can't ever remember his name. But you know who I'm talking about, right? So I've got this cartoon clock on my wrist and I'm trying to scratch it off. And as I'm rubbing it off, I see the words "I am" on my wrist. And that's the dream. So a little context, I was working at a church at the time. Not that I really resonated with anything that was going on as far as their belief system or their tenets. However, I was surrounded by a lot of inspiration and a lot of spirituality in that time. I felt like in the dream, the clock represented that I was running out of time. And I also really love Beauty and the Beast. I've loved that musical forever. I've always wanted a huge library, and I think it's a really sweet story. And there's a lot of symbolism and significance tied to that, and I think that's why it showed up in my dream. But the "I am" I knew was spiritual in some sense, and I know that there is that phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." I know that brings a lot of comfort to people. It doesn't to me. So I sat with this dream for a number of days. And then this tattoo came to me and it felt right. And I don't know why. And now it is the logo for None But Curious. And that is why I am sharing this story with you. So let me break down the tattoo or the image for you. The 3 dots and the 3 slanted lines, that is a symbol for Awen. And Awen represents a word for inspiration. Or it doesn't represent the word. The word is inspiration. Awen is inspiration. And according to Druidry.org, It's like opening a window and letting the fresh air and sunshine in. There's really nothing more to do to experience Awen than to exist and stay out of your own way, which, by the way, I have a hard time doing. Getting out of my own way, I'm still working on it. So the circle surrounding is Enso. Enso is Japanese for circular form. And depending on your perspective, Enso can represent everything or nothing at all. So when you put the two together, you have this crazy beautiful tattoo, but I call it Awenso. And it's a symbol to me, which basically means inspired by nothing and everything. And little did I know that years later, I would create a podcast and awaken a community of people that are like me, who are inspired by literally every ordinary thing that makes no sense, and also connected and committed to nothing. So, what symbol has made an impact on you personally, and what does it represent to you? And how often do you contemplate it? And if you haven't, maybe make some time to do that. Looking at an image, even for a few minutes, helps to calm our nervous system, especially if it holds significance to us. Hey, thanks for listening. Let's keep this conversation going. Share your stories with our None But Curious Facebook group, or you can also follow our Instagram at None But Curious, or email Candy at nonebutcurious.org if you want to share your ideas and thoughts. Until next time, stay curious.